My name is Eva born Vaisova. I was born in 1940. I remember some things, but of course, some I know only from my mother's narration. Before the war, my parents lived like any other ordinary people. My mother was a painter. My father became a professor of mathematics at a high school. They dated, they married, and founded a family. At the beginning of the war, the Germans declared that the Jews were the enemies of humankind, and all of us had to wear a yellow six-pointed star sewn to our clothes. Our relatives, acquaintances, and friends subsequently all had to leave.
My parents decided to begin hiding in abandoned apartments where Jews had previously lived. Our housekeeper, Mrs. Pijlova, wasn't afraid to break the rules and helped us. She seemed like an angel. Everything was permeated by fear.
The fear grew. Because of that, my father decided we had to run away. In order for us not to be too conspicuous, our father left first with us, children, and went to Luchenets, where he came from and where he had many relatives and acquaintances. Our mother was to come afterwards on her own. A photograph of us children stayed behind at Narodní třída in the house called the Topič Studio. Although it was forbidden, the brave photographer Mrs. Jilovská hung it in the shop window at her own peril. At the time, Jews were no longer allowed to go anywhere, so she placed a sign in German beneath the photograph. We take pictures of Aryan children only. When my mother finally obtained her identity card, she took a train to join us in Luchenets. It was the year 1942, and she went on New Year's Eve, hoping that the officers would not be so strict on that particular day. Next year, we were hiding in the surroundings of Luchenets until we were deported to a ghetto because somebody had informed on us. Dad was taken away to forced labor. He escaped from there and came back to Luchenets. As soon as he was allowed to, our father started to look for us. When he found out we were captured and locked up in a ghetto, he decided right away to take us out of there. My father had to get new identity papers. Being a good fisherman, it was no great deal for him to obtain a fisherman's identity card. He adopted a new name, current and ordinary in Slovakia, Pavol Kovač. Later, my parents joined the resistance. My father was an excellent sniper. However, the uprising was soon brought to an end. Everybody withdrew to the mountains. My mother with us, the children, ended up in a hunter's cabin in Nízké Tatry, just out of the village Tisovec. Our mother made curtains and a tablecloth from old newspaper. We had nothing to eat, but we found an apple tree with frozen apples. Our father found us even here. Unfortunately, we caught head lice from him that he bought from a prison. Our mother shaved all our hair so we were bald. Then I grew thick black curly hair, which brought us to a government office after having been informed on again. A child like that was suspicious from afar. There, my parents were accused of being Jewish, since they had me, a Jewish child. My father got into a fury. "Who did you have her with? Did you have her with a Jew? She cannot be my child." The Nazis laughed at him heartily and wrote into his identity card, "Professor Idiot." We were all brought out and placed on a train to Kremnička. Our father knew we had to get out of the train as soon as possible. "Let's jump off," he decided. We hid beneath an old train standing by. We found a retreat in a village called Mlazov, where German soldiers came as well, who were fleeing from the war. We were accommodated by Mr. Miadok in his own house that he built with money earned in the USA. He bore everything patiently, the chaos, us, the Germans, the Russians. He only got into a terrible rage when a mine hit his house. Although they were in the majority, Germans were so scared of him that they jumped out through the window and ran away. Then we moved on. It was cold, we were hungry, we didn't have enough clothes. My mother was already expecting my little sister. My father went away to look for food and shelter.
When we could no longer go on, he appeared with a big loaf of bread.
The photograph with the sign, "We take pictures of Aryan children only," remained in the shop window at Narodní třída throughout the war.
Two siblings on my mother's side survived from our family, a sister in London and a brother who escaped from a concentration camp. And this was our own little personal victory over Hitler. The story of my parents was unique. They rose against any orders and directions, even though they had no more than a premonition that something very bad was happening. They loved life and did anything to preserve it. They hazarded a flight to nowhere with small children. Of course, that would not be possible without the help of many courageous people. They all were exceptional because of their simple desire to live an ordinary life at an extraordinary time. They never stopped believing that it is normal and possible.